All right. Today, good afternoon, April 8th, 2022. Today, we had really just a range day, and I had my overnight highs up here, but this high right here was of more significance, and you can see that midline right there. Get a few touches, but also the measured move. We made a perfect measured move down. So that would have helped to give you some context there. Excuse me. So I didn't see anything in here. This is after 5:30, so 1 second entry. I mean, you would have to argue this being a lower high right here. I don't think you can take that for any reason other than it's a lower high. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could take that. Here you have a double test of the overnight lows. We break beneath it, test it once, test it twice, test it a third time. Big bearish bar right there. So if you're feeling aggressive, I think that's aggressive just because you're going into new lows. And this is all too far from the EMA. You might argue, oh wait, no, that's an inside bar, so you can't take that. Is this right here? Yeah, no entry in here, even though it looks like a first entry, second entry, and if maybe that looks like a lower high, but none of that. It's not. So, and we make a double test of the measured move, and no reversal pattern sets up. So, just not a lot of setups on this 2000 tick chart up to this point. Come up here, correct, and then we make a first failed second entry short. Very good reversal bar. I think you can take that, ride it to these highs. But you get a scalp pretty quickly, and then you get a higher low. And this is this trade up here. I think this is aggressive, but I think it was a good read. I mean, you get a break of this channel up, and you get one leg, two legs up to a new high, 2 legs of correction. So this lower high right here, we haven't touched the EMA since this swing. I think we're heading back to the EMA. And you get a scalp and nothing more. So if you measured that risk, there was enough room back to the EMA for a scalp. I think you can take that. We break out counter trend right here, and then it just instantly rockets up. And we get a break of this channel, few legs up to a new high, and you get a first entry, second entry after the break of this leg of correction, and that's good enough for a scalp. I think I got trapped. Yeah, I didn't mean to keep this up here. I went long here. This is a prime example of why you want to wait for a higher low. I just went long thinking it was a failed break lower, and it does look like that, but that's the risk you're taking when you take these aggressive entries. It's not a high probability setup. So, and this is one of those times where it was a 4-tick failure. So we get a break of this downward channel. Whoops, break of this downward channel. That's actually a second entry short, but I don't think you want to be taking that because we're in an uptrend, and it's just very risky. It's above the EMA. You'd have to go short into this level of former level of resistance. But if you wait, you get a first failed second entry short off the longer term trend channel, and it sets up below the EMA. So that's why I made it a green arrow. If that was above the EMA, that'd be blue. And then you get a second entry long, and it's also a failed second entry short, and it's off the trend channel again. But you can see it's just there's a lot of price acceptance here, so they trap out all these longs, and then they rocket it right up and trap the shorts out. So we come up to the highs, and then we get a first entry, failed second entry. So this looks very congested, but you can see it's off this short-term trend channel, We just came from the highs. And there's just some things that you have to watch live to catch the traps. I think a lot of people got trapped going long here on a second entry long, and the way prices were behaving here, there's just some traps that you have to see live, and that felt like one of them. Here we get a second entry short, and then right after that you get a failed second entry long. I'm surprised this one didn't work. This was like 4 ticks, I think, and then it came all the way back up to here. But I mean, I guess it makes sense with this midline, but you wouldn't have had that midline at that point, I don't think. But the failure, you can see that works very quickly. This one took a while. This is all too far from the EMA, and then we get a first entry, second entry short off that trend channel, off the EMA. It's a little congested, but there's room to the lows. You might mark this green because look at all these dojis in a row. But it is off the trend channel. First entry, second entry doesn't set up on this chart, but it sets up very well on the 1700 tick chart. And you can see that rockets on down. We get that's a break of this downward channel, and that leads to an overshoot, and then we correct, but we still make a lower high. And so when we get this failed second entry long right here, and look at all these people are definitely, after this leg up, piling on the long. So that's a good trap. So this should be good enough for a scalp. And that brings us into 12:30, and I didn't see anything else. So hope everyone has a great weekend. I'll be back next week. God bless.